So you're writing a romance novel, right? Your characters have passed through everything you wanted them to pass through. They've been through bad and good and whatever. And now it's time for them to get down to business. It's time for you to write a sex scene. But then again, you're not entirely sure how much should you write? How much is considered too much? Well, I got you. Today I'm going to discuss with you guys how much sex is too much. What's up, writers? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maua. Today I'm talking about the sex scene in your novel. First of all, you should know I personally think sex in books is very natural. You can write a number of sex scenes, but be mindful about going overboard, because I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. We all love a little sex scene, we all love hot stuff, but when it's too much, it becomes too much. And today we're gonna talk about that. And so without further ado, let's get to it. I have with me about 3 things I would like to discuss today. And number 1 is having sex scene is fine. But if your sex scenes are just written just for the hell of it, then I think you have too much sex. You need to write sex scene, but your sex scenes need to have an impact on your characters or your chapters. Is it pushing your book forward? Is it pushing your characters forward? If your answer is yes, then you're good. But if your answer is no, you're just having this sex scene just for the hell of it because other books have sex scene, or you think, I don't know, having sex scene is gonna push your book forward, then you have too much sex. And worst of it all is it is meaningless. Number 2, are you maintaining balance between your sex scenes and your story? If the answer is yes, again, you're good. Because what I'm talking about here is you need to have balance. You can't have sex scene after sex scene after sex scene and then there's no balance between your story. There has to be a story first, and then sex scene has to come later or after. But you need to balance things. There has to be some kind of chain reaction, so to speak, that lead to the events of sex, that the sex does not look like it's forced into that part. You understand? So events that been happening is leading to that sex scene. So you need to balance. The balance there is that there was something that pushed them to have sex. But if they're just having sex, no balance, you have like 10, 20 parts about sex, then I think it is too much sex. Number 3, you have the right amount of sex scenes in your book, but then you're being overkill. You're writing teen fiction, for example, or even if it's romance, and when it's time for your characters to get down to business, your book straight away turned into a pure erotica. That is just overkill. You bluntly explain to us how their parts looks like, what they're doing, like the length, everything is just, if it is like that, it is too much. You can tell things that get people in a mood or makes people say, wow, this is nice, but doing it blatantly, like I don't know, you're trying to, I don't know what you're trying to do, but when it's too blatantly, it just becomes too much. Unless you're writing erotica, which is okay, but if it's just teen fiction or it's just young adults or I don't know, romance even, when you're too blatant, I think it is just too much. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't be graphical. Be graphical, but just maintain the balance. Don't force words. If they don't fit somewhere, don't force them, right? Just make sure the words fit to the scene. If it's too much explaining some, like a woman's V part, you don't have to explain it to, I don't know, the way that it's too graphical, the way that it's too erotica, the way that it's too, people start thinking, wow, what on earth is going on? So explain things, be graphical, but just not that much. But then again, what I would say is it all comes down to your target audience. What is your target audience? If it's YA, let's say, these are people usually from like 13 years old to 25, sometimes even 11 years old to 25. So if you're writing YA and you have this graphical erotica things going on in your book, you should consider taking it down a notch, because your audience usually are very young people. You just might tarnish their innocence. Oh my god, don't tarnish people's innocence. On the other side, it is true that sex sells, but then again, as I said, you should consider your target audience. That's the key. That's what everything comes down to, your target audience. If I were to give you some advice, this is something even I do sometimes, because even I like to write some sex scenes because, you know, it's fun. You're experimenting with your characters, so I usually go for it. But I'm gonna give you some advice of what I do usually. Some people don't like it if you do this because they say, you know what, I don't like to hear this. I would like to be surprised and, you know, just get to the moment of it. But then, just for the safety, I would still advise you to do it. I'm still doing it because even if you don't like it, some people actually do. And just to be considerate, it's a lot better than just keeping quiet. What I usually do is just before my sex scene chapter, I write just a simple text, a simple message, mature content ahead. If you don't like it, you can skip this chapter and read the next. That way, if your readers are 13, 14 and they're not ready for this kind of stuff, they can just skip this chapter and go ahead to read the next chapter. That's you being considerate of young people. I think people who are fine with it, they will continue reading it, but people who don't, they will skip it and go to your next chapter. That way, it's a win-win for both of you. You don't miss readers and you gain more readers for people who like it. What I think again is it should be more about the story plot, the story itself, rather than just sex. Unless, as I said, it's erotica, then you can put as much sex as you want. But if it's YA, it's teen fiction, it's romance, just it should be about the story, about these two people meeting, about, you know, things in life rather than sex. Sex should, if you want to have sex scenes, that you should have it, but it shouldn't be about that. It should be about the characters, the plot, where the story is making people feel, and then if it's unavoidable, go for it. Write sex scenes, but just be considerate. Whew. I had a lot today. I still have a lot more today, but I don't want to be going on and on about this topic. I think I said everything I wanted to say. And if you guys like this video, please thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. It will mean a word to me. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.